All right, everybody, if you could start finding your ways to your seats or start quieting down. Raise your hand if you can hear me right now, please. Raise your hand up in the air if you can hear me. Everybody just start clapping for no reason if you can hear me. There we go. That feels good. Okay, so I just want to give you guys a quick little overview on what's going to happen now. So we are transitioning into our innovation showcase. So what that means is you're going to hear 3 presentations from 3 different companies. They're going to talk to you for about 10 minutes each. So these are going to be kind of short and sweet presentations. We're not going to have any Q&A after they're done. It's going to kind of be rapid fire. So if you do have questions or just want to make a deeper connection with each one of these companies, please find them afterwards. And you can always do the Cove badge scan to make a deeper connection. So with that, I want to invite up our first speaker, our man Curtis Gilbert from P3 MediaWorks, whose team was responsible for creating those amazing videos for our Culture Impact Award recipients. So everybody, round of applause for the P3 MediaWorks team.
Check, check, check. Hello. We start with a video, of course. All right. Hello, CultureCon. Can everybody hear me? All right. Yeah. So we are P3 MediaWorks. Hello. We're a creative video agency out of Chicago. My name is Curtis, and I'd like to introduce my brother and business partner.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Curtis. We also have to introduce my niece and Curtis's daughter, Zuri. She came along to help us with the booth today. P3 MediaWorks, we're a small agency in Chicago. We have employees like most of you all at your company, but we're also a family organization. So when Zuri's on summer vacation, she always likes to come with us to the convention. So one shout out before I turn it over to Curtis. He has a quick presentation, but thanks to CultureCon, and thank you so much, Nick and Zach, for all of your accommodations. This is a fantastic convention, and we're very happy and proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Bug. Zuri's nickname is Bug. Yeah. You can probably call her Zuri. She'll be embarrassed. All right, so. Oh, yeah, we're going to do a quick selfie.
Sorry, guys, I know we're in a hurry, but
this is cutting into our 10 minutes.
My sister-in-law would be mad at me if I didn't get a selfie with all of you and us here. So I can send this to Zuri's mom. So here we are, everybody. This is the worst selfie ever, but here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yay, CultureCon.
Zuri got one eyeball in there. One eyeball. Okay. All right. So the video that you guys just watched was 100% AI. We do not have, we do not actually have any semi trucks or trailers or forklifts or anything like that. We run a pretty small shop. So coming to CultureCon looked a little bit more like this right here, which is just us kind of making it happen. A small and mighty crew. But speaking of AI, that is one of the things I wanted to talk about. In our industry, in particular in content creation, it is a very divisive subject. A lot of people are really terrified by AI and what it's going to mean for content creation in our industry, while other people are extremely elated and excited. It's something that our team talks about a lot. We're testing it every single day. And we're probably somewhere in between terrified and excited about wherever this is going. But I wanted to clarify that we don't have any semis. One thing our team does agree on, though, is that there is one thing that AI cannot generate, and that is culture. And we really, truly believe that. The focus of our work is culture, company culture, which is driven by people. And so we really believe and hope that culture is definitely one thing that AI cannot generate. And that's because AI is fully human. And culture is obviously what brings us all here together. The common bond that we all share is a love for culture. What I love personally about culture is that champions of culture can come from any position in the company. And champions of culture are simply people who are impacted by the culture, who believe in the culture and love the culture. And fortunately, those are oftentimes the people that we get to work with, like these people. So shout out to Emily and Aisha and Hugging Face and Team Octopus. We had so much fun working with you guys, and I can't wait to get to know you guys better this afternoon. But their stories is a testament to what the power of culture can have on an organization and a little guy like me. But we chose to focus our business on culture because we believe that culture can change the world. Yeah, I know that's a big statement, but it is actually something that we truly do believe. And the people that are leading these projects that are focused on culture are typically people who are extremely passionate about culture and believe the same thing. And again, these are the people that we get to work with. And so for creatives that are content creators, that is living the dream, is creating content with people who actually are purpose-driven individuals. And so we are all in on culture and creating content to celebrate and lift up company culture. We believe that culture is every company's superpower because culture has the unique ability to attract the right people, the right candidates, the right employees, the right customers, the right funders, the right fans, followers, you name it. It attracts the right people, and it drives the actions and attitudes of those people. And so the reason why we believe that is that today's audience, we think people want more. Today's audience wants to work for, they want to buy from, they want to believe in something more than revenue and market position and stock value, because what people want is purpose. They want to know the why behind the company that they work for. They want to know the why behind the company that they buy from. But how do you communicate your culture? And how do you prove your culture? It's an extremely difficult thing to write down on paper. So we have worked for hundreds of companies across a bunch of different industries, virtually every industry, probably conducted thousands of interviews with employees at all levels of organizations. And we always ask the question, why do you love working here? That seems like an obvious question, right? But without fail, 95% of the time, I want to say that the answer is the same, and it's two words: the people. Because the people are the culture. And I think that what people are trying to say is the reason that they love to work at the company is because of the culture, and the people is the first word that comes to your mind, because that's what you think about. When you think about why do you love working here, it's the people, and that, to us, we believe is the culture, and that's why we exist. And this is our little elevator pitch video. All right. Video has the unique ability to communicate the why of an organization, because video allows us to actually meet the people that work at the organization. And so our process and our production process and content creation is focused on people from the organization at all levels. We believe that when the culture is real, and we've seen it, people actually want to talk about the culture. They get excited to talk about the culture, and that is pretty priceless when you're trying to promote your organization on any level to anyone. And so video has the unique ability to capture, communicate, and transmit that feeling to the world that you can't really put down on paper. And we believe that when you focus on the why behind an organization, you're able to tap into multiple audiences at once, because we're all human beings and we all appreciate the purpose behind the organization or the product or whatever it is. And so when you can create content that connects with the employee, the customer, and the candidate, and we've seen this happen too, the same content can be used by marketing, it can be used by sales, it can be used by corporate communications, it can be used by HR, because it's talking about something that is of mutual interest to everyone, which means it can be used to attract talent, promote engagement of employees, increase retention, deepen brand loyalty, create awareness, and beyond, all simultaneously. And so what does a why video look like? For one of our clients' Sun communities, it looked like it was capturing a story of how employees from all across the United States of America descended on southern Florida after Hurricane Ian to volunteer their time to help out one of their communities that was impacted by the hurricane. And so we were able to tell that story. It played in front of their entire organization at their event, and it was emotional and powerful to see. For Career Builder, it was the story of one employee who took the company mission of empowering employment to heart and helped his taxi driver get a job as a Java developer. True story, truly amazing. And for Option Care Health, it's telling the story of how their culture supports people at every level of their career, and that leads to mentorship and inclusion across the company. And so, if you'd like to see more amazing stories of culture, please check out our website. You can do that here. I'll give you guys a second to scan the QR code. Okay, all right. Or we invite you to subscribe to our newsletter, which is really dedicated to celebrating culture and all things sort of employer brand marketing. And so, lastly, definitely come check us out. We have a table right over there. Corey, Curtis, and Zuri, we're real people, not AI. You can find us there. We'll be there all 3 days, and we'll be excited to talk to you guys. And so thank you very much.
Thanks, brother. All right, next up, we have Dr. Maggie Redling and Coleman Williams from Wrestling with Talent. So please join me in welcoming these two up to the stage.
Okay, awesome. We'll need one.
It might just be a second while Dave pulls up your deck here. Test.
Thank you. Thank you.
We do not have semi-trucks or videos. Very sorry. Just like, we're going to level set. Level set.
We just need a couple seconds to pull over the deck. So if you two could just like dance for a little bit.
Well,
Coleman showed off his calves. Nice. In case you need.
cows.
Coleman, what was the best meal you've ever had?
You put me on the spot. So I got asked this already, and I couldn't come up with a meal. But what I came up with was when I was growing up, we would go and I'd go play at my cousin's house. It was my great aunt and uncle. And that night, she would cook this huge spread, and then my grandparents would come over, sometimes my mom and dad. And that was just huge for me. So, like, I still call back to that. I miss having those big meals with that big family that we had at the time. But, yeah, to this day, I remember the conversations, the meals, and, like, kind of everybody just kind of ribbing on each other, making fun of each other was the best part of it.
And the butter.
And
the butter.
Oh, and the butter.
You're
yeah.
from the South.
Yeah.
Things I've learned when I moved to the South. Butter is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Game on.
Game.
Not what we're here to talk about.
Hello, my name is Coleman. Sorry. All right. No, we're going to start. We're going to actually start with a game. We're going to call it the Culture Graveyard. So look left, look right, find someone at your table, and ask them, talk to them about an initiative that you had, a culture initiative, maybe a program that you had that you tried to launch, you thought it was going to be amazing, but then it failed. So share that quickly. Take about 10
Say
seconds.
the words out loud to someone. That's what I heard. So many fails.
All right. Hello. Huh? All right, if you don't stop talking, you're going to have to get up and dance. So,
They're still talking. All right, ready? Love you for that. It worked. It worked.
all right, bringing everyone back. The folks that are still talking, please get up. Please start dancing in place. All right, so I am going to ask you, was there anyone in here that has never had a failure? Anyone? Never had the
Never had a
failure
failure.
when you launched a program? You've never had a failure? Have you?
Yeah. That's the point. All of us have experienced something like this in the past, where it's not because of bad intention. These initiatives did not fail because your people didn't care. I mean, some of them didn't probably, but most of them did. It's just because we're not wired that way. The way we maybe intentionally tried to get it out just didn't work.
So Maggie had a program that failed tremendous. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just a little background. Maggie and I have known each other for, I don't know, 10 plus years
10
now?
plus years.
10 plus years now. She had an amazing failure of a program. We'll call it Better All the Time. Real name.
That was the real name. Better all the time. It wasn't better all the time. It did
And
not work.
it had a great comms plan. It had great content. Like, it was a fabulous program on paper. But one of the biggest problems with the program is the company wasn't ready. And we were trying to create a learning culture at the company that we were basically like, here, we created. You have everything you possibly need. It didn't work. Maggie failed.
I failed. It's because it wasn't sticky. Again, it's not the intention. Our people want it. They don't know how much they want it, but there's something there. But it's because we didn't deliver to them in the right way that got it to stick. And that's what we're here to talk about, is how do we help make things a little more sticky, whether it's a performance review, whether it's new leadership competencies, whether it's a new value system. How do we make it so that your teammates feel it and stick to it? And so we've seen it across different clients. We've seen it work, we've seen it not work, and when it doesn't work, it falls into one of these traps.
Yeah. So first one, too much information, right? It is the information overload. You've sent emails, you've sent Slacks or team messages. You've let them know the dates. You've put dates on the calendar. You've had it cascaded through the managers, right? Like, there's no reason that anyone shouldn't know what's going on.
The rule of 7 works, but only if it's intentionally done. Rule 7 is you have to hear it 7 times before you actually understand it. Absolutely true, but only if it's done the right way. If not, it becomes that overwhelming memo that our brains just don't know what to do with. It's also because there's too little memory. The retention part. Again, our brains are wired to hear stories. They're here to have fun. They're here to connect emotionally, and if that doesn't happen, it's often cognitive overload. It's also because there's too little energy. We've all been on those all hands that are a little bit too long-winded. Again, great intention, poor delivery. So how do we bring up the energy in those moments? Again, to our last point, get the emotion in.
Yeah. Or too passive. It's so good, like, we don't even have to do anything, right? You just, like, it launches, and then you're like, cool, launched, and then guess what? You're moving on to the next project. How many of you work in businesses that run just like that? You're going to launch something on Friday, But guess what? You have to get ready for something to launch 2 Fridays from that. Yeah.
It's hard. So what we want to do, and this is why we went into this business and why we love what we do in HR and learning and comms, is so we can help teams figure this out. And we figured this out in the really we call it the discovery loop, but really it's discovery learning. So it's really just letting someone else figure it out. You don't give it to them, they figure it out, and then it works. So how does that work? First, it starts with play. And truly, play can be a controversial word, especially in some organizations, but it's really about building some curiosity, giving them a chance to explore, to try something different, try something novel, fit it in a way that maybe you didn't think could happen. Practice it. That's usually where the learning experience starts. We usually start with, here's a thing, go practice it. But we're saying, let's explore it first, then give it a shot, then reflect on it. That is maybe the biggest thing that we forget in a lot of our organizations, is to give folks time to reflect and actually to teach our people how to reflect. We just assume that folks know. Unless we do it for them and give them the structure and give them the things, it won't happen. We're all super busy. There's lots of things happening, so fit it in. And then reinforce. It doesn't just happen once. It has to happen several times. So how does this look? We've actually done this several times in lots of different ways. It could be games. It could be AI chatbots. We'll talk through that in a second. But one way that I really love is through a simulation. It's with a energy company that has a lot of field workers. So it seems to be an organization that's very, let me give it to you, you go do it, and then we walk away. Instead, especially for our salespeople, we decided to create a let's plan a party. So to teach them how to hand off between teams, they had to plan a party together. They were all given different pieces of the puzzle, and they had to talk to each other in order to figure out how to actually make a party that works for the person who wanted it. Seems like a little bit fun, if you will, but it taught them the skills of collaboration before we actually got to okay, what's the process here? So what does this team hand off to this team that hands off to this team? So we went from play, we had them practice it, and then we actually had them reflect on, well, how did that feel? What worked, what didn't? Why did you ask that question? What would you have asked differently? Let's document those things. And then 4 weeks later, we said, okay, let's actually take it to your process. Remember when we did that 4 weeks ago? What are you going to do now? And then it clicked, and they go, oh, that's why we planned a party. Okay, got it, understood. And so it's these little things that feel different, but can actually make it sticky and can actually make learning happen and behavior change happen, which then impacts that culture, it impacts that team, impacts performance. The business results are going to speak for themselves when they get there. So 2 other examples. That one was in a learning experience. That's a pretty typical learning experience activity. We've also started to think about games. So what does that look like? We have some handheld games, some kind of like the ones on the table, which I love. Love you for that. It's how do you get people to start asking questions in a different way? We have a what would you say activity for some of our clients, and it's about accountability. So those conversations where you're like, oh, something's happening and I need to talk to them. Typically, you may see someone do okay, you're the employee, I'm the manager, there's an observer, we're just going to do a little trio and role play it, right? That's common and effective. But using a game, 1, puts people in a different space, and 2, gives them several ways to interact. So now they're presented this experience. They have to respond to it. Cool. Now there's a challenge card. The group I'm with can challenge you and say, try again, not good enough. Or try again, I can do it better. Or, coach first. Ask a question first when you start that. And so instead of having someone do this role play, which we typically would do, now they have to say, oh, I can't do it the way I normally would do it. Now I have to step right and say, okay, let me try again. We're doing the same thing with AI. Just a custom GPT where you can actually interact with an employee in some sort of struggle, where you get to play the role of a manager and say whatever you want to say to that employee. It could be cathartic, let me tell you. You can say the things you should not say and see what happens. They may quit. You don't know.
It is not
it's okay.
recorded.
It's a safe space.
No, answers
No,
are not saved.
Answers are not saved. But it's a place for you to do the things and say, like, oh, okay, I thought I was saying that well, and it didn't. It went down another path. He still shrugged and crossed his arms. Okay, that didn't work. So it's these things that give folks a place to try something different in a really safe way that actually gets them to learn something new.
All right, so I'm not going to explain everything up here. You can read this. But for us, one of the most important things on this list is emotion, right? And whether you leave tonight and you love us or you hate us, you will remember us, right? And I say that because we do this with clients. We have an activity that we will run with clients, and as soon as we run it, we know what the reaction is. The reaction is anger. They do not like it. They are angry with us. It's leaders that we're working with. They're angry. They're upset. They do not like it, and then we go backwards. We unpack that, but it's memorable. And so the feedback that we get when we have the surveys that come back to us, it's always one of the top activities that are talked about. They remember that conversation because the whole group has a different opinion, a different feeling. They don't like me in that moment, and I'm okay with it. I just lean into it. I turn into the bad guy, right? Anybody a professional wrestling fan? Okay, like 2 people? All right. Do better, people. Do better. We just had SummerSlam, really big event just happened. Come on. No. But they remember it. And that's really any program that you're doing, you want to call to emotion. All right. So with that, what's that?
I was saying, we want you to remember us.
Oh, yeah.
So
Most importantly, remember me. All right. We do have a booth. We will be around. Come by our booth. We have cards, and we really just want you to play games with us. So let's nerd out, and let's see what type of games we can play.
All right. Hand it back to you all. There you go.
All right, thanks guys. For our last presentation of the night, we have Beth Ridley, CEO of Ridley Consulting Group.
Hi, everyone. So great to be here. Beth Ridley, Ridley Consulting Group. We are a leadership and workplace culture consulting firm. We're based in Milwaukee, and we work nationally. Also, I'd like to say I'm a CultureCon OG. I've been, I think, to all of them all the way back from the very beginning. And each year they get bigger and better, and I meet people from all over the world. It used to be just people who are local, and this is just one of my favorite conferences. Anyways, I'm here to share with you something that we're working on that we're calling the, Holistic Performance Management System. So it's a new approach that we've launched to help leaders continue to drive for high performance, but without the burnout. Why do we care so much about this? Because burnout is a problem. It is not getting better for all the reasons. 68% of employees this year said that they are experiencing burnout. That's up from 48% in 2023. So the trend is not looking well. And the costs associated with burnout are also building up. So typically burnout often leads to turnover. Turnover is really expensive, especially of your key employees. But in this economy, my clients are finding that people aren't necessarily leaving their jobs, they're just not showing up. And so absenteeism is increasing. I've got a lot of clients that are spending a lot more money servicing short-term disability claims due to people being out for stress and anxiety. Disengagement is costly. And also another thing that we're tracking is incivility. You know, when people just aren't feeling good, they're not showing up at work with patience and tolerance for their coworkers, so you get some bad behaviors, some toxic environment, and that can be expensive as well. Now, unfortunately, the burden to kind of address this often falls on managers. They're really the front line of defense. They see employees day to day, and they're not really stepping up to the challenge. Not because they don't want to, they really aren't equipped and they don't know how, and frankly, they are burned out too. I talk to a lot of managers and they say, I wanna do a better job of supporting employee well-being, but I'm not a therapist. You know, so I'm not exactly sure what to do or what I can do. And I say that as fair, right? Without any clinical training, it is really scary to kind of wade into this territory. And frankly, that is just not the job that they were hired to do. So we've been really committed to like, how do we kind of solve this problem? How do we get to better? And so you don't need to be a therapist to know that there is, in fact, a ton of research available. It's rooted in positive psychology. It's rooted in neuroscience of what do humans need in order to be more resilient, in order to thrive, even during challenging times. And so we took all that information, and frankly, there are a lot of really common themes around what the data is saying, and we boiled it down and tried to make it very practical, doable, not very scary for managers. So we basically took the research and identified basically fundamental human needs that are the foundation for sustainable high performance, right? People are intrinsically motivated. They're resilient, even during challenging times. And we're calling them the 3 C's just to make it less scary. And it really comes down to 3 things, right? So we call them comfort, which is psychological safety and trust. You know, people feel confident being who they are at work. They can speak up, ask questions, take risks, and also bounce back, knowing that mistakes and missteps aren't going to be held against them. The second C is connection. Not just connection to coworkers, but connection to just a greater sense of purpose and meaning in their work. So their work doesn't feel like just a series of tasks, but it's meaningful to them. And when you have that and everyone feels it as part of a team, cohesion and collaboration increases. And the third C is contribution. Everyone wants to feel like they matter when they show up for work. So their unique skills and perspectives, are they valued? And when people feel that they're more motivated, they have a sense of ownership. So our first step to helping managers be a little bit better, and frankly, honestly, I'm sure for all of you in this room, these are very intuitive things that we do naturally. I'm channeling Aisha and Emily as the award recipients. But the truth is, a lot of managers, this is unfamiliar or it's just not intuitive. I work with a lot of companies where people got into their leadership positions either because of tenure or because of their subject matter expertise. I work with a lot of law firms, engineering firms, construction, hospital, super smart people. But these, as they would call them, soft skills, you know, they're just not conditioned to lead with them. We call them essential skills. And how do you package this in a way that is more doable for them in their day-to-day? All right, so the first thing is we took all the research and we boiled it down into something that was more approachable and digestible. The second step that we took is basically to actually redefine what performance is and get people to just switch their mindset to performance is not just driving for results. It's not just the outcome, but it's equally as important to invest in those fundamental human needs that enable those outcomes to materialize in a really sustainable way. So we call it holistic performance. People are used to driving high performance. We want them to broaden that definition and really think about having more of a balanced approach focused on human-centric, whole person approach to leadership. So step one was just repositioning and reframing what leadership and holistic performance is. Second step is taking those fundamental human needs, those 3 C's that we call them, packaging them in a way and delivering them in a way that resonates with the modern workplace, which basically means people are super busy. They do not need one more thing to do. So the innovation piece of this is really taking these timeless truths and delivering them in modern ways. And that means there are no big, long workshops. Any education around these fundamental human needs, the 3 C's, it's delivered in micro-learning. So short explainer videos, nothing is over 4 minutes. Leaders can squeeze that learning in no matter where they are. Super practical ideas. No one needs a PhD in any of this. They just need to be equipped with what can they do in their next one-on-one? What can they weave into an existing team meeting? I find that most leaders want to kind of lead in a different way, but oftentimes they simply tell me what to do and I can do it. So we want to make it super simple for them. And then the last thing is we're offering an AI coaching component. Gotta have AI, it's 2025. And so everybody wants these solutions hyper-tailored to them. So you can use our AI tool to basically type in and say, hey, how do I take this and maybe how do I adapt it to my one-on-one conversation? Or could you write me an email that better reflects my insights around this? Or what is the way that I could take this idea and tailor it to my team meeting? So then the third piece of this system, and we're really calling it more of like a change, a behavior change engine, again, equipping leaders with the knowledge and the insights in ways that resonate with them and they can weave into their day-to-day as practical habits or new team traditions. There are a couple ways that all of this can be delivered in organizations. The first is a light touch, a DIY digital leadership toolkit that has all of this content if you want to just utilize it yourself. We sell this to HR teams who want to use it so they can do a better job coaching their leaders, or leaders can have access to it directly. The other option is a facilitated team sprint. So if you have a team and maybe there's some bad behavior, a little toxic, a little dysfunctional, you want to do a better job of maybe having people connect around their true why for their work that really brings them together. We'll do 3-month sprints. Easy way to get some quick wins, start some new momentum, get the team to reset. Or we can integrate all of this into a company's existing performance management system, leadership development system, to really start to hold leaders accountable and to have some consistency of how leaders lead across the organization. Okay, so early results from our early adopters around this, definitely showing a consistent change in how people feel about their team and organizational culture. Trust is going up in a sustainable way. The sense of connection or belonging is increasing. Intrinsic motivation, right? Even during challenging times. This is really phase 1 in terms of measurements. The next thing that we want to do is really start to track, okay, what's the impact that a stronger culture more consistently across the organization has on some of those big cost items associated with burnout, like the turnover, like the absenteeism. More to come on that. But to me, one of the things that really speaks to the value of this is just the qualitative feedback from employees. Nearly 80% of employees do not feel their managers or their companies are doing enough to address burnout. This is a way to show in a meaningful way employees, yes, we are on top of this. We recognize the way that we used to lead and the way that we used to expect people to show up is no longer sustainable. This is something easy to scale across the organization, and the feedback is employees are just, they're happy, they're grateful, thank you. thank you for just recognizing this. And it's something I think that really sets great companies apart from good companies, because it's a way to get all of your managers who, this just may not be their skill set, on board in a way that's confident and more consistent across the organization. And then I think also, and the reason why, the concepts I'm talking about are not innovative at all. But I think what is innovative is finally giving managers, leaders, permission to lead a little bit differently. Part of my why for doing this is I left a very senior job at a very large financial services company, and burnout was, there was a lot of change going on in the organization, and there was a lot of burnout. I tried to lead differently, but I was never asked about my employee engagement scores. I had the highest engagement scores across the company, and it never factored into my performance review. And so if somebody had just said to me, we value investing in the people who drive the performance as much as the outcomes, I think that would have been a game changer, not just for myself, but for so many of my colleagues. I do think leaders want the permission to lead differently, and they just need to be equipped with some tools and resources to do so. So to me, the innovation piece of all of this is in a world where we're always on, always asked to do more and more and more, just giving permission to lead with humanity, honestly, is disruptive. And anyways, I hope that this resonated with all of you. I know everyone in here is at CultureCon because you're tackling this issue from, your own respective ways. And so I know that there's a lot of complementary learning. I want to learn from all of you as much as hopefully maybe I shared a little bit about what we're up to. So please, either join my newsletter, follow me on LinkedIn. Very open to collaboration opportunities. Met some fantastic organizations last year at CultureCon who have been heavily involved in this and collaborating. So either reach out to me, look for me, zap me. Thank you, Cove. And yeah, that's all I have. So thank you.
Can we please do one more round of applause for all of our Innovation Showcase presenters? So those companies, one more time, we had P3 MediaWorks went up first, then we had Wrestling with Talent, and now closed out with Ridley Consulting Group. So please absolutely take time to connect with each one of these founders and team members to learn more about what they got going on.